We're back. We're back this week. Welcoming you to another episode of Marriage Mondays.
Yep.
My name is Nick.
And I'm Trina Brinson.
And we're here every Monday night, for the most part, to give you an idea or just some suggestions about how to make your marriage better. To the couples, to the singles, to those that are working on marriage, to those that need just some marriage help. That's what our purpose here to do, is just to help you with what we can and with some of the things that we come up with, or topics we come up with to help you on Monday nights.
Yeah, so we really just want to support you and use our experience as well as the experience of Bishop Bush and Lady D, because they've shared their ups and downs with us so transparently. And so we just want to help as many people as we can. So we encourage you to share this broadcast. You can do a watch party, or just share the link with someone who you think might appreciate the information. So that's what we're here for. This is Marriage Monday. We're with Kingdom Cultural Center.
Mm-hmm.
And of course we represent the church ministry, which is under the leadership of Bishop Finus Bush Jr. and First Lady or Lady Denise Bush. So what are we talking about today? You want to give some more time? We have just a few people on.
Yeah, we got a few people on. Just to go ahead and get your topic, we'll probably restate it several times tonight before we actually get with the meat of the program. Tonight we're going to talk about buffering your marriage with support systems. And those systems are made to give strength and stability to your marriage. But we are going to address things that can be toxic to your marriage first before we give you the things that will stabilize it. So stay with us tonight as we continue to go through this program with you. And we just hope that you get something out of it tonight. And we just want to thank God for allowing us to be the ones to minister to you tonight in this way.
So those of you that are logging on, we ask you to go ahead and text or share on your Facebook page to let people know we are back up tonight. Last week we took a little break because we had a church revival on Monday and Tuesday night, where we got a lot of good information from our pastor, and so that was why we weren't on last week. So sometimes people kind of get out of the habit or the routine of things, and may be hard for them to get back on. So just give them a little nudge. If there's someone you know who's usually on that's not, text them a quick reminder. Let them know that we are up and going, and we are ready for marriage class tonight. We do have, I think this topic will be something very applicable and something that'll be easy to talk about with each other, and give you some information that you can choose to reflect upon and kind of analyze for yourself where you stand with this topic that we will discuss tonight, and if you might need to make some adjustments after we cover this topic. So we just wanted to be helpful to you, so go ahead and let some folks know, get on the horn and bring them on in the room.
All right, as folks continue to come in, and right now I can't tell who's coming in, but right now we have about 6 people watching. Hopefully they're a couple, so that'll equal up to 12. So, yeah, hope you're watching with your significant other so you can get the same information that they're getting. With that said, let me restate the topic tonight. Buffering your marriage with support systems. First thing we're going to discuss as far as this topic tonight are toxic friends and families. When you hear about something toxic, you normally think of something that's poisonous or something that's not good for the body that it's in. And really, these people can get into the framework of your marriage and destroy it because of the things they do. How they act towards your marriage, how the words they say towards your marriage, if you let them talk into your marriage, you're setting yourself up for failure and disaster in your marriage.
Well, anything toxic brings death. And a marriage is something that's living and that's alive. And you want to feed your marriage life. You want to feed your marriage hope. You want to feed your marriage and build your marriage on faith. So anything that's toxic does the opposite of those things. It's absent of hope. It's absent of what's the first word I said? Life. Absent of life. So that's the way you can think about this whole topic is you want to choose life for your marriage and those things that will feed your marriage life and not death.
Right. So if you have those kind of people around, it might be a good idea to not allow them to talk into your marriage, talk about your marriage, or talk to you about the things that's going on in your marriage. So we're going to address 4 types of people or 4 friends and families that are bad for your marriage. The first one is do not allow a friend or family member to talk bad about your spouse. When you engage that kind of conversation, you're actually talking death about your spouse and what's going on in that marriage, because you're not giving that person the opportunity to communicate with you in a way where you with each other. Yet you're bringing in somebody else that is basically, I would say, maybe a little co-signing with you about how you feel at the time, based on things that are going on, and you're consulting your soul man about how you feel about your spouse. And those people can come into your life and give you more ammunition to use to kind of break down the walls of trust and communication in your marriage. So that's why it's not good to have these kind of people in your life to talk bad about your spouse.
Well, that should be, it really should be a given, because you and your spouse are one. And you're constantly working to become more and more a manifestation of one. And so when someone is talking down about your spouse, then they in essence are talking down about you as well, because you are united with your spouse. And that's a level of division that you can shut down yourself. You don't allow people to come in talking negatively about your spouse. I think a shift has to be made at some point where you realize that you and your spouse and your children make up your primary family. And that is your first kind of loyalty within your family. You know, you start out in a family where you're a family member, you're a child in that family, and that's your primary family. But that shifts when you become married, and that your marriage is now your primary family. And so you have to keep in mind that that is what you are committed to protect and committed to build everything else in your life out of your relationship with God and out of your marriage. Everything grows out of that. And so I think that's a shift in mindset that has to happen in marriage. And so that when someone's talking negatively about your husband, you can't stand for that. They're not going to talk bad to you, to your face about you. And so it's the same thing if they're talking negatively about your spouse. So you're going to have to be able to put your foot down and let people know, well, you know, that we're not doing. You know, maybe I said something out of line. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But what I'm not going to do is let you talk negatively about my spouse.
Right? You got to be the one to, like Trina said, you got to be the one to shut that information down. And you got to talk in a way about your spouse, excuse me, to let them know it's not cool to talk about my wife.
Right.
We're not going to have that conversation. That conversation is irrelevant, and it's illegal for me to talk to you about my wife.
Right.
You know, so you need to understand that as you're dealing with other people when you're talking about your spouse. And another, which is our second point, is to watch people who talk bad about their own spouse. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, all these negative feelings that they have, if they're going through a situation in their marriage that needs some help, don't allow people to talk bad about their spouse to you.
Right. So when you encounter someone who's maybe complaining about their spouse, and maybe they're coming to you in sincerity because they, maybe seeking counsel from you, or they're upset about something and they just want to talk to you as a friend. But even in the midst of that, it's important that you do not allow that person to bash their spouse in your presence, because you can't help that person get to a place of healing and wholeness by allowing them to talk down to their spouse, or if you're going to be a sounding board for that negativity, or if you're going to be the garbage where they're trash can where they're dumping all that garbage on you. It's one thing to be supportive of a friend. It's another to co-sign with them in their wrong.
Right.
And so you have to be able to turn that conversation to a positive point, so that you can actually be of assistance to that friend and they can kind of figure out what's going on and what steps they need to take. But talking bad about their spouse is not going to ever get them to the place where they're trying to go. Whether the marriage makes it or not, bashing the spouse is never going to produce anything productive.
Right. It's a very good point. All right. Third thing about toxic friends and family. Those people that try to put you against your nuclear family, meaning your wife and your kids. And what I mean by this is, you have those friends that say something like, "Man, you don't hang out no more. What's going on? You know, what's important that you got going on that you can't hang out with us?" Or, "You don't ever have time for yourself."
Or your wife won't let you out the house.
That's what some people say.
Exactly.
And I've heard that, but I can honestly say I've communicated with my friends in a way that they know you can't say that to me, because if I'm home and I'm gonna let you know if I can come out and do what I need to do based on the stuff that I've already done in the house, and if all my responsibilities, there's no need to even ask me, am I going fishing or going bowling or doing something that's that may look like I'm neglecting my responsibilities at the house. So you need to, like we've been stating tonight, get your friends in order, because they need to know that they need to be in a position to support you. And some of my friends be like, well, and after I tell them what I got going on, I'm like, yeah, man, you need to go into the house and get that done. So that's a support system that I rely on with those Christian friends and those church friends that I have, and some friends that I don't even hang out with much. They tell me, we communicate with each other about the things we need to do for our families.
Well, and it's important to for you to convey to your friends a sense of them understanding that we work together to decide who goes where and who does what. There's nobody bossing the other person around to say no, you can't go, or yes, you can't go. I mean, we're not parents to each other,
right?
And so that's not our role. But within the context of the marriage, you are accountable to your spouse, but you are responsible for making sure that you do what you need to do, not that your spouse has to tell you what to do. And so when people on the outside try to put that twist on your relationship, you got to protect the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so that includes protecting your spouse and protecting what other people, the way they view your relationship. It has a lot to do with the way you allow them, the way you come off and present yourself to them. So by telling them, I've got some things I need to take care of, that's your choice to take care of your family first. It's not that your spouse is holding you hostage. That's not at all the way. And that's not what should be coming across to other people as well. So you just make sure that they understand that, I'm an adult, I'm making this decision, I'm not available, or maybe I am available, but, it's my decision, but I do it within the context of what's right for our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
We're not at odds over outside activities. That's something that we will agree upon, and that's not a conversation that only comes up when somebody is asking you to, to participate in something or not. But it's one of those foundational rules. What is it? Shared beliefs.
Yeah.
That's one of those core shared beliefs that we have about how we're going to handle outside activities with friends that don't include the spouse.
Right.
We have a system for that. We have a way of looking at it so that every time it comes up, it's not a problem. It's not a struggle of friends against family.
Right.
It should be.
And we don't want to sound like we're against friendships and having friends outside the marriage, like same sex friends outside the marriage, because we know friends are important. Friends are very important to who you are in your development, but it's not that important at the expense of your family.
Right.
So, have friends, but keep things in priority.
Yeah, and your friends should be supportive of your marriage. If you have a same gender friend that's causing friction between you and your spouse, then you're going to have to make some decisions about what's most important. And sometimes those friendships, if we can't manage to bring that person into the friendship, which is inclusive of both of us, just to say if I had a male friend that's important to me, but he wasn't comfortable with the male friend, or the male friend always had negative things, that's a friendship that is going to have to go on the back burner, or a friendship that has to end, one or the other. But it can't be a problem between the marriage relationship. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying that nuclear family. That's your primary family, your primary responsibility.
Right.
And friendships can't be the cause of friction between us. And family too. Did we talk about? Is that next, or I don't remember what the fourth one. Yeah, so we'll talk about, so the same is true. If you have family members who are divisive, that's something you have to deal with. The two of you together have to take a stand against that divisiveness, whoever that comes through. And it's not that you are, there are people you still want to be a part of your life, particularly if you're talking about in-laws. You may still want them to be a part of your life, but they cannot cross that boundary of becoming divisive in your marriage relationship. And so either the two of you together, or whoever is related to the person, which is what we have done, is if there's, which we haven't had much of that at all in our family, but anytime there's anything that's even potentially an issue, I'll deal with my family and talk to my family, and he'll deal with his family to talk to his family. So that's the way we've chosen to handle it. And like I say, thankfully we hadn't had much, but anytime there's even that possibility, that's what we've chosen to handle. So we get on the same page, and then whoever is related to that person has that talk on behalf of the family. And if something comes up to where someone challenges the other spouse, we speak up and we protect each other.
Right. All right. And the fourth thing is having friends in your marriage that are not married, and having friends who hate marriage in general.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what I was saying. If you got friends that are not married and don't have no aspiration for getting married, that can be a toxic relationship. Because really, if you hanging out with a single man or woman, I would say sometimes that person is looking for somebody to date, hook up with, or whatever. The pressure of, I got a wife at home, I got children at home, I got responsibilities. So why put yourself in that situation to be with a person who's not married and be in a situation where it may conflict with what you have going on at your house? All right? So, just continue to work that.
Well, I think a point under this that we're talking about people marriage in general. Mm-hmm. Some people just have a general belief that they don't believe in marriage. They don't feel that marriage is something holy or something to be revered. They just believe, people do what they want to do. You come in and out of relationships the way you choose to. You should be free to love, free to do whatever you want to do. People have a right to have their beliefs, but if those beliefs don't match up with yours, you have to understand that how can two people walk together except they agree? And that applies within a friendship as well. If you're not going the same path and share a similar mindset, if this is a person who doesn't even respect marriage, the sanctity of marriage at all, this is not someone that you want to be sharing thoughts and ideas at all about anything related to your marriage, because their belief system is different. So their conversation is going to be unsupportive of marriage. what you need in order to make your marriage stronger. It's just like in the beginning when we talked about feeding your marriage life versus having something toxic coming upon your marriage, and which leads to death. And that would be a very toxic relationship to your marriage, to have someone close to you who is constantly talking against the very foundation of your marriage. That's not at all what you need. Can we check comments real quick? Okay, do we have any on this one?
No.
How can you tell?
Those the same comments on that one as on this one.
No, she's on the watch party on mine. That's different. Okay, so we have quite a few. Well, I can't call the names. You're going by kind of fast.
Oh, got Charity over there eating, y'all.
Get the camera off for Charity. Turn it around.
All right, y'all looking
May
at
as
my baby.
well wave, Charity. Technical difficulties. It is not. I told you to make your hair beautiful. See, the same thing happened to Camille. It happened to you. You should have had your hair right.
All right, little technical difficulty there. Tapped the wrong thing, but it's all right. Baby's over there eating, I tell you.
Yeah.
But
So we got Miss Tammy Walker. It's my co-worker.
now let's talk about things. We've talked about how toxic things,
Toxic relationships.
toxic relationships, harm the marriage. Here's how the support system works. The support system builds and solidifies your marriage. And we got a couple of things and suggestions tonight that we're going to tell you about how to support your marriage. First thing, based on our research and what we've looked at, is get some marriage mentors.
Yes.
Marriage mentors are so important in your relationship, and these people are been there, done that. Mm-hmm. If you know what I mean by that. They've been where you've been, and they've done that, and they've gotten through it. So now they can tell you and just give you some good, helpful hints or points about how to get from one stage of marriage to the next.
And I'll say on this topic, as far as marriage mentors, it's not always the most obvious choice. It may not be your parents. It may be if you know your parents have a strong marriage, but if you know your parents have a marriage that doesn't look like what you want yours to look like in the future, then those are not a good choice. Your parents might not be a good choice as your as a mentor to your marriage. Pay attention to people around you. And when you see people whose marriage looks like what you want yours to look like in the future, based upon what you know, how well they relate to each other, how strong they are, how strongly they are committed to one another, pay attention to if they honor each other. Pay attention to the fruit. Mm-hmm. You know, look at the fruit that they bear and look at their lives and see if that's what you want your marriage to look like in the future. And ask that couple, you know, is it okay if we ask you guys questions from time to time, or if we come to you if we're having a disagreement. But make sure you examine the fruit. And like I say, it's not always about, you know, who's closest to you and most related to it. You also want to make sure that those people are trustworthy, that they're not going to have your business in the street, and that they're always going to be supportive of your relationship succeeding. Even if you're having problems and it looks bad, you want somebody who's always for the marriage. And so that has to be, that's what you're looking for in a couple that can mentor you.
Right. And sometimes it's always good to get somebody that's been married a little bit longer than you have.
A lot
longer. Your mentors. Now, second point is marriage peers. Now, it's good you can communicate with, because a lot of your marriage peers, when you say a peer is somebody that's your own age or somebody around the same age as you. Time you've been married, right. You're talking about marriage age.
The same stage.
So what you need to be careful about, and it's good to have those people around you, but what you need to be careful about is getting in a situation where you're bashing or just not coming up with ways to resolve what you're going through, but now you're becoming sympathetic and empathetic to that person,
right,
about, you know, Oh, y'all going through that too? We are too.
Exactly.
Boy, you know what? I just don't think this thing gonna work because we going through it. Y'all going through it. Well, see, here's the thing. Y'all are going through it, so you need to talk to somebody that has been through it.
Right.
So you can have that, and I'm gonna tell you another suggestion. When you are examining each other's relationship because y'all are peers, always judge it from a spiritual standpoint.
Right.
Don't judge it from a physical or feeling standpoint because you got your feelings, and your feelings can destroy your relationship.
Yeah.
Always use scriptural principles to judge a relationship.
Or to observe it, not to judge. You
Well,
want to make an observation without judgment. Yeah. And I will say, thinking about this, I can laugh about it now because it's been probably 15 years or so ago. But I had a really close friend to call me because she found out her husband was having some extra activity that was not supportive of the marriage. And she was upset, and she was calling me for encouragement. But she and I really had been married for about the same amount of time. And I didn't want to encourage her. I was ready to go fight with her. Because I was like, this ain't right, you know. And because I felt we're on the same page. And I literally told her, I was like, look, I know you call me for advice and things for sometimes, but I'm not the right one today. Because I'm just as mad as you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not the right one to call. I say, now, if you got another solution for it, I might help you with that. But I can't talk you out of this. I haven't been through this before, and all I feel right now is the hurt that you feel. And I can't pull you through this. You're going to have to find somebody who's more mature than both of us because, my head is not in a good place right now to help pull you through this. And that was the most honest answer that I could give her. That's all I had. And now, that I've lived longer, I would have a different approach just because of general maturity. And I would have a different response for somebody today. But back then when we were peers and we both had maybe been married maybe 6 or 7 years or so, and no, I was not understanding but one perspective, as in, he did you wrong and he hurt you, so I'm team you. I don't care about him right now. I don't care about your marriage right now. I care that he hurt you. And so that's talking about peers. That's why it's very important to, and I do support, I wanted her to be successful, and I wanted her marriage to be successful. I just didn't have what was needed at the time to give her what she needed. So the most I could do is steer her elsewhere so that she could get some the help that she needed. I think she ended up going to a pastor's wife, which was all I could tell her at the time.
Yeah, and we're at the age right now where if we got a peer situation in a marriage and we can't figure it out right now, my righteousness and my spirituality says you can't help them with this. You need to direct them somewhere else. So I don't have no issues with saying I can't do that for you. I mean, I can't help you through this issue. So I got some people that I know that probably can. And then if they can't help them, I'm sure they have somebody that probably can help. So, in that you need to be a more suggestive person about sending them to somebody that might help you through something. And then that's how y'all can handle that situation as being peers, marriage peers. Another thing that you can do is be a mentor to a younger couple. I mean, just like the example Trina just used right there, she can use what she learned from that situation with her friend to probably help a younger couple figure that out now. Because being a mentor to a younger couple allows you to reflect on where you've been and the things that you've been through. And it helps to deepen your marriage because, you can say like, man, we were there at one time and look where we're at now. And it helps to reunite yourselves in a way. So learn how to be a mentor to a younger couple. Can't think so about that one. Next thing is you need to always learn. Continue to get education. And this requires you to grow.
Learn together.
Yeah, what I said.
Just learn.
Oh,
but it's important to learn together so that you're growing together. And once again, Amos 3:3, how can two walk together except they agree? And so you need to have similar information coming in so that you can grow together. That's very important. People love to say, oh, we grew apart. And that may be true, but you don't have to grow apart. You can grow together. You should always be growing, but make the effort to grow together. And it does take effort. It doesn't happen without effort. You have to intentionally decide that you're going to put some effort into growing together. So whether it's even these, what we're doing right now, you know, offering these lessons to you, talk about them together. Even if one of you watches and the other is not available to watch, of course it's recorded, so you can always go back and watch it together, or send your spouse the link, and then y'all talk about it together. We did a lot of that through the years, as in access information separately, and then we come together and talk about it, which gives you a topic of conversation. It gives you a chance to reflect individually on whatever that topic is, and then to kind of hear your spouse's side as well as you express your side. So it's a good way, which keeps the communication going. So we really do encourage making an effort to learn together. There's all kind of courses online, free, some that are paid for. There's no harm in investing in your marriage. What is there to lose? We invest money, and I mean, if you just think about all the money you spend eating out, we spend money on so many things that are much less valuable than our marriage relationship. So don't be afraid to spend some money for the sake of strengthening your marriage. Maybe sign up for some courses, maybe get some books, maybe go on a retreat when Corona's gone. And take that time for you all to invest in your marriage relationship.
And you know, we was talking about, you know, friends and families that are toxic to your marriage, but then you get those friends and families that are peers to your marriage. Because I think when me and Trina when we first got engaged, and we were, you know, in the process of getting, you know, prepared to be married, I think who gave us that series about John Cheer? Pastor John Cheer. We listened to about 10 tapes.
I think my parents.
I think your parents too. I think our parents gave us a series about getting married. It was like cassette tapes, and a lot of y'all, you know, some of y'all older folk in this feed know what I'm talking about. It were cassette tapes. We would wind those things and listen to them. And he basically opened my eyes as a young man of what I needed to do in a marriage relationship. So that's where I got a lot of my information from before me and Trina got married. So somebody invested in us, thought enough of us to invest in us, to give us something that would lay some foundation, some stability.
And we listened to those together.
Yeah, we did.
And we took notes and we talked about it. And I guess that was sort of the start of us making the effort to put in the work together, to do whatever it took for us to learn what we needed to learn. And that's been a repetitive theme in our relationship, is making that conscious effort to learn together.
Right.
That's been very valuable.
And the last thing we're going to talk about tonight is counseling checkup. Meaning, you need to go to somebody and talk about your marriage with somebody that's going to make the marriage and listen to you, listen to your side, listen to your spouse side, and be a mediator with some things that y'all might be going through. And you don't always have to go to a counselor when you're having issues. Sometimes the best time to go to a counselor when you're in a good place. So,
right.
And make sure the person is a professional, licensed counselor, Christian. I would think Christian counselor, but you can go to a professional counselor and just talk about some things before things get bad.
Right. Yeah. So, you don't have to have a problem in that moment. You can get the tools you need. And I think you hear better and you receive information better when there's not an issue on the table. You know, when you're not going into counseling wanting to see whose side the counselor is going to take. That's not necessary. It's much more valuable when you both are going in good spirits and both knowing that you are consciously working to strengthen your marriage. So when you go into counseling with that mindset, you're going to receive more. And then when those problems come up, you have tools to help you know how to handle that problem. It's good to have paperwork You know, maybe listing some guidelines and rules, something you can keep visible in your home. Marriage, a good marriage doesn't happen by accident. You absolutely have to put some effort into it and be conscious about it. Put those worksheets or whatever you get from the counselor, or things you even find maybe online, or whatever you come up with as far as your house rules, things that you all are going to do to support each other, or to make your resolution of conflict, or your the way that you go about solving problems. You can have a systematic way of addressing that. It makes the problems are going to come. You will have those issues to arise. The difference is being prepared ahead of time by being proactive, instead of having to be reactive and trying to make decisions when the problem is on the table.
Right.
Having pre-drafted measures. I was trying to think of that term Bishop uses all the time. Having pre-drafted measures. You decide ahead of time and draft exactly what you're going to do. And let that formula be the way that you go about resolving problems. Everything does not have to be an argument, and you can't, well, you're foolish if you think you're going to get through life without having a conflict in your marriage, without thinking you're going to have arguments. But it's a difference in an argument being a blow up versus an argument being a disagreement that you come to a resolution about and get on the same page and agree.
Always come back to peace.
It does, because that's the goal. The goal of marriage is peace, and we reflect the relationship that Christ has with the church. And so we have to stay mindful of that. All right. We're just looking at comments. And we appreciate you guys putting those comments in, that kind of let us know you're with us. So we appreciate you all watching. We really do. And I don't want to get to rambling. But we do. We appreciate you all watching and participating. And we're here to help. So any questions or ideas or topics that you'd like for us to cover, as always, just reach out to us or put it in the comments, and we want to be able to give you the kind of support that you desire, or the support that you need. So, do we miss anything, or Bishop, any points you want us to get in there real quick?
Well, while we're doing that a little bit, the Brinson family just went through a life transition. She took our oldest girl to college this weekend. She's at Georgia Southern, and she's been down there, 2 days now?
Oh, yeah. We left for there Saturday.
Yep. So, the Brinsons are happy that she's happy where she is, and we are glad to lead her into her next level of life, and she seems to be well with it.
Yes, we take this high school journey with this other one. It's been an awakening. Yeah. So pray for us. We're going through transitions, but it's been a sweet experience. They're good girls. So.
Well, all right. With that said, we just want to say good night from the lady and the coach, and we love you. Bye-bye.